Good evening. Are we all on now? Welcome, 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 everybody. Welcome. Welcome. We have about 2 minutes more. Welcome. Welcome, Onyiko. I see Onyiko. I see Remy Akinloye. I see Modupe Arasoyin. I hope I pronounced that well. Chinyere Hendiwo. Chukwemeka Adeyemi Joseph. Polo Webi. Please forgive me if I didn't pronounce that right. Please forgive me. I see Praise, Dr. Praise, welcome. Welcome, everybody. Just waiting for a few more people to join and we will start. Great to have you all here. Welcome, 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 welcome. Glad you could make it. Welcome. I'll soon start sharing my slides. Welcome, welcome, welcome. In a minute, I will start in a minute. Welcome everybody to this webinar. Good evening. Welcome everybody to this webinar, Combat High Blood Pressure Naturally with Foods. You're all very, very welcome. And during this webinar, I'll be sharing practical steps to lower your blood pressure naturally without constantly taking drugs. Okay, so I am going to now start. Good evening, Babajide Oyebande. I'm not going to start sharing slides. Good evening, Falelat Bello. Good evening, Tomi Kwesi. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I will start sharing my slides now. Okay. So as I take my eyes off the chat, please forgive me for that. So let me start sharing. Okay, I hope you can all see my screen. I hope you can all see my screen. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Good evening, everybody. Matthew Aledare, Tolokbadinka, Gloria, Jimolaja. I'm going to take my eyes off this now so I can now face it. So I'm now starting, and I hope, can you see my slides? Yes, you can. Thank you for letting me know. Aishat Kamal. So today is about how you can combat high blood pressure naturally with foods, and I'm going to share practical steps to lower blood pressure naturally without constantly taking drugs. I've had previous sessions where we've done challenge where people have learned, have even been able to get off their drugs, so it's possible. Okay, so moving on. So let me introduce myself. I'm your host. I'm Opeoluwa. I'm a retired pharmacist of over actually 42 years of experience in community pharmacy. I've always loved community pharmacy. I love working with people. So I have worked as a community pharmacist both in Nigeria and in the United Kingdom before retiring. But now I'm now a health and wellness coach and a consultant who is certified. I'm a certified nutritionist when it comes to food, nutritional therapist, which is somebody who uses food to help people heal illnesses. I'm a detox specialist, so I know about how to detox. I'm an advanced weight loss consultant, so I also deal with weight loss using, science-based methods, not fads, but we're not talking about weight loss today. We're talking about healing high blood pressure. So what I basically do is I help adults with long-term illnesses like high blood pressure, which we're dealing with today, diabetes type 2, fibroids, prostate health, and on to help treat them and reverse them. Okay, so for tonight, our learning objectives are as follows. You see, by the time we are done with this webinar, which will be about 1.5 hours, what I want you to know, what you will end up knowing is you will know foods that have been scientifically proven to lower high blood pressure naturally when consumed consistently. Please note these words: foods, scientifically proven. Don't forget I've been a pharmacist, so I know how the different types of blood pressure tablets and how they work. And then they have been proven and to lower high blood pressure, and they are done naturally, but you must consume consistently. You cannot take today and not take tomorrow. You are going to make sure that you are flooding your body with the right foods to consistently lower your blood pressure. I'm going to show you how to use them, and I'm also going to share with you other health benefits that these foods have. I'm going to share with you how they work. And by the end of this webinar, I'll be sharing with you some exciting news that I would love you to stay and listen to. So you need to stay to the very end to be a part of it. So let's move on to the next slide. I hope if you have any questions, drop them in there. And when each time I look in at the chat room, I will give you responses. Okay, so moving on. Now, I need to make this clear to every one of us that the anchor idea of this particular webinar is to get rid of hypertension without orthodox medication. But I want to add that this is just one of the ways in which we lower high blood pressure. We must, and you must, which is what I do, apply a holistic health strategy that handles 4 main areas. When you want to really, really, really heal or reverse high blood pressure, it includes 4 pillars: your food, exercise, stress management, and sleep. I can also add weight loss if you are overweight. So, however, in this class, we are only going to focus on food. How do you lower your blood pressure and get rid of hypertension using your foods? That is the focus of today's webinar. We're not going to be looking at exercise. We're not going to be looking at stress management. We're not going to be looking at sleep. So before we get into nitty-gritty, I want us to be aware of the impact and the statistics of high blood pressure, so we'll know what we are dealing with. Now, as of recent data, which can be very shocking, high blood pressure, also known as hypertension, is a major global health concern affecting millions worldwide. In fact, it affects billions of people. So here are some important statistics. So please don't feel that you are alone. The prevalence is that 1.28 billion adults aged between 30 to 79 years have hypertension worldwide. So don't ever think that you are the only one who is going through this. However, the sad thing is that of these 1.28 billion adults or more, only a significant portion of these people remain, a lot of them remain undiagnosed. So that means there are a lot of people out there. Can you see how it is increasing each year, the people that have it? That means that a lot of people out there actually have high blood pressure and yet are not known. And high blood pressure is called the silent killer because it doesn't always give you the signs, but all of a sudden it can lead to death and to things like stroke and all that. So let's talk about detection and treatment. Only about 46% of adults with hypertension are aware of their condition. 46%. So that means 64% are not aware. And among those 46%, only 42% are receiving treatment. So that means of the people that have hypertension, only 58 people, only 42 are receiving treatment. 58%, which is a high number, are not receiving treatment. That's why you hear these things. Oh, this person just dropped dead. But a lot of times it could be due to hypertension, which is a silent killer. Now, when it comes to control rates, approximately 21% of individuals with hypertension have it under control. That means out of the 100% of people that are taking treatment, out of the 46% or 42% that are taking their treatment, only 21% of these individuals actually have it under control. One thing I found out during when I was practicing in community, especially in UK, is that for Africans or Black people, it usually takes more than one drug to actually deal with it. And because we're not adding the lifestyle changes and things that need to it, there's a lot of issues. So let's look at geographical disparities. High-income countries often show higher treatment and control rates due to better healthcare infrastructure. So they have better healthcare infrastructure for example, the NHS, compared to low and middle-income countries where even free education is not available. So that plays a key role. Then the risk factors. Let's look at the risk factors. Lifestyle factors such as poor diet, which is what we're looking at tonight. We're looking at food, physical inactivity. A lot of us don't like to move. Some people love to smoke, that tobacco use, and alcohol consumption contributes to the rise of hypertension. So you can see that it's not just about maybe it's running your family, but you have a role to play. Because it runs in your family doesn't mean that you have to become a victim of it. You take responsibility for your health. And that's why I'm glad that you are here tonight to learn how to take the proactive steps to get yourself healed. So what are the health implications? Hypertension is a leading cause of premature death globally, being a major risk factor for cardiovascular diseases such as stroke and heart attack. And being here tonight shows that you are ready and proactive about taking care of your health. That none of us will be victims of stroke nor heart attack or even kidney disease. Okay, so these figures actually highlight the urgent need for improved awareness, prevention, and management. The strategies that we need to do globally. It's not just for one country, it is a global issue. Now, for more detailed and up-to-date statistics, it's best to refer to reports from health organizations like the WHO or your local health departments. Now, let's get into it. What is high blood pressure? What is hypertension? Hypertension or high blood pressure, also known as hypertension, is a condition in which the force, let's say this is the blood vessels. It is the force through which the blood is running through the artery walls. If it's too high, that you have high blood pressure. Okay, so it should just be flowing freely. You understand, through the blood vessels, and blood vessels are very, very tiny. Your arteries are very, very tiny. When you have high blood pressure, the force is too much, and sometimes when it's too much, the blood vessels actually, break and can lead to all those fatalities that we have. So this increased pressure can lead to health problems such as heart disease, stroke, and stroke, and even other fatalities, heart failure and all that. So blood pressure is usually measured in millimeters of mercury. When you go for your reading, they'll say this over this, which is then given as two numbers. So let me explain those two numbers to you. You have the systolic pressure, which is actually the pressure when your heart is beating. And then that is one number at the top. And you have the diastolic pressure, the number when the heart is at rest. The heart is not beating every single minute. It beats its rest, okay? So what happens between heartbeats? That is what is measured as diastolic. So normal levels are typically below 120/80. That is a good reading. Okay, high blood pressure often has no symptoms, and which is why it's called the silent killer. Regular monitoring and lifestyle changes like diet, exercise, and medication, when necessary, can help manage this condition. So let me further explain the readings. You've got the two numbers. You've got the systolic, that's the upper number. So next time the doctor is telling this what your reading is, you know what it is. It is the pressure in your arteries when your heart is beating, and diastolic is when the lower one, and when the pressure in your arteries when your heart is at rest between beats, like I explained earlier. Okay, so let's look at the blood pressure categories. You need to know this so that when your doctor is telling you that this and this is going on, you have an idea of what is going on or what they're talking about. Can you see this picture here? So normal blood pressure, your blood pressure is normal when it is less than 120/80. It is elevated. Your blood pressure is said to be elevated when the systolic is 120 to 129 and the systolic is less than 80. Okay, or more than 80. Okay, and then hypertension stage 1, because it's in stages, is when your readings systolic is between 130 to 139 and your diastolic is between 80 and 89. So that is stage 1. Now, stage 2 is when its systolic is higher than 140 and when diastolic is higher than 90. And then there is a hypertensive crisis when systolic is over 180 and diastolic over 120. Recently, I went to visit someone, very close friend, family friend, who is hypertensive and unknown. I didn't even know that this person, I did not know that they had suffered a stroke. And while I was visiting, he was fine and out of an hospital. I mean, to see the person at home, and somebody came to visit him, somebody that I know too, and he began to tell a story that he had to be hospitalized because his blood pressure was way over 200. So he had to be, because he's in the UK, the NHS took him in and all that. He had to be in hospital for about, I think, a day or two just to bring the blood pressure down. So that was a hypertensive crisis because it was way over 200, going to 200 and something. So we need to understand that. So when you want to measure your blood pressure, a lot of us make a mistake when we're measuring our blood pressure. If you're measuring at home, you need to do this. Now, if you're measuring at the doctor's place, you must sit down comfortably with your arm supported at your heart level. It must be at your heart level. You should be relaxed and not have consumed caffeine or smoked at least 30 minutes before. So when you're going to get your blood pressure readings, make sure you haven't smoked. Smoke is not good for you. Make sure you haven't taken caffeine because caffeine is a stimulant. So it can increase your blood pressure and all that. So it's important that you know that. Okay, so you're getting yourself prepared. And I know that some of us have this issue that what you call the white collar syndrome. As soon as you see the doctor, your blood pressure, shoots up. Okay, and then the cuff placement. When they're going to do it for you, if you're doing it yourself at home, you must make sure that cuff, that thing, that sort of thing that wraps around your arm is wrapped snugly around your upper arm, with its lower edge about an inch above the bend of your elbow. Now, when you're inflating, the cuff is inflated usually by a manual pump or an automated machine to temporarily stop blood flow in the artery. So that is how it works. Okay, so remember this if you're taking blood pressure at home or you're going to get it done in the hospital, please follow this. Make sure that your mind is at rest. Start thinking on something. Maybe set your mind on something that that gives you peace. Forget about the person that is taking it and just focus on that thing. You go into a brief meditative state so that your heart you won't be anxious. You have the manual method, which they normally use in lots of hospitals. They use a stethoscope. And then you have the automatic method when you use these ones those machines you can buy everywhere now. And the reading is done in 2 ways we've got 2 readings. So let's look at the consequences of unmanaged. I just want to quick look at the chart. Let's look at the consequences of unmanaged. Okay, I'm just checking the thing. So let's look at the consequences of unmanaged high blood pressure. When blood pressure is not managed, it can lead to serious health consequences. So, and here are some of the potential effects which we must do everything in our power to prevent from happening to us. Some of them can be fatal. Okay, number 1 is heart disease. And it even makes it worse when somebody has high blood pressure and diabetes with it. So the combo of them is just deadly. When you have high blood pressure, it increases your probability of developing heart disease very, very highly. It increases the risk of coronary artery disease. That means the arteries, one of the arteries, there will be disease in it. There's heart attack that can happen all of a sudden, and there's heart failure. And then there's stroke. Because when the pressure can be too high, some of the blood vessels in the brain can burst. So that's one of the reasons why some people have strokes, especially when it comes to the brain. Then kidney damage. That is something you do not want to have. Kidney damage, I just don't want to go into it. So you don't want to put strain on your kidneys, especially if you also have diabetes, leading to kidney disease or failure. It is so expensive when your kidney is damaged to go for dialysis. And also, after a while, dialysis may not be doing the job as much as it should. And kidney transplants are not, they can fail. Getting a donor is not easy. And I listened to a story of somebody who had a kidney transplant done in Nigeria. Everything was fine. He now went for a checkup, and they looked at it and said, "Oh, this place where we cut you open, it doesn't look clean and all that." And they said they had to take a look at it. And before you know it, the person just died just going for a checkup. So we want to avoid kidney disease as much as possible. And also it can affect your vision because of the pressure in the vessels. Don't forget that the vessels are very, very tiny, and they are tiny in the eyes too. So they can cause damage to your retina, leading to potential blindness. So those are the reasons. There are aneurysms. Weakened blood vessels increase the risk of aneurysm where there's a rupture. There's cognitive decline, which can lead to memory loss, and get understanding. Another thing is peripheral artery disease. This affects the legs, okay? Peripheral. This affects, so the arteries in the legs, there begins to be a problem where there's a problem with heart, blood flow to the limbs, okay? It can lead to a form of congestion. And then for some men, it can cause sexual dysfunction, especially erectile dysfunction in men. And for women, it can be reduced libido. So managing high blood pressure through lifestyle changes and medication can help to mitigate these risks. But we want to now focus on using lifestyle or food, diet. I've given out so many drugs in my lifetime as a community pharmacist before I retired for high blood pressure, and people have been on it without any change. And that's because they didn't add lifestyle changes, neither did they add the right foods that actually can help. Okay, so 6 foods that I'm going to look at are spinach, which is very, very common, known as Ẹ̀fọ́ amúnútutù in Yoruba, beetroot, banana, sorry, the A has gone a wool there, hibiscus, zobo. Don't stop looking at zobo like if it is just something you just drink. No, zobo is a powerhouse. I'm telling you, not only does it lower blood pressure, but also has anti-cancer and other properties that it does in our body. So, and then scent leaves called African basil. There are different types of basil, but the one in African basil is what you call the efirin in Nigeria, for those who are from Nigeria. So we are going to now look at these foods and how they work. I'm going to start, taking them one by one and sharing with you how they work. Okay? So the first one we're going to look at is spinach, also known as Ẹ̀fọ́ amúnútutù, which is very, very, very common. So the local names include Ẹ̀fọ́ amúnútutù and spinach. It is a leafy green. Can you see the picture there? And it can also, it can look different in different countries. It's a leafy green vegetable that is closely related to beetroot and quinoa. So they're in the same family. I don't know how many of us know about quinoa, but beetroot, if you see the leaves of, they seem to dwell in the same family. It's known for its high nutritional value. Ẹ̀fọ́ amúnútutù spinach has a high nutritional value, not just for lower blood pressure, but it does a lot of things in the body. It's known for its high nutritional value because it is rich in vitamin A, it is rich in vitamin C, it's rich in vitamin K, it's rich in iron, calcium, and antioxidants. So that's why when you have people who say they're anemic, one of the things I recommend is they go and juice spinach because it's high in iron before they start taking iron tablets. So spinach can be eaten raw in salads. You can make juices with it. You can put it in smoothies. You can cook it, but the thing with, you get more from spinach when it is slightly steamed. And a lot of times we overcook our food when we are cooking it as a foriro or a foile, whatever. We overcook it so that we are using most of its nutrients, its health benefits when we overcook it. Spinach just needs a little steaming. Okay? So you can get the best out of it by steaming it compared to the raw form. So steaming first, then the raw form. So the raw form, you can use it in the juices and smoothies, like I said. So let's look at how does spinach work? How does it operate? Spinach is rich in what you call nitrates. Nitrates help to relax our blood vessels. You know, what causes high blood pressure, I said, is the force in which the blood is flowing in the arteries. That means it's tight. Our arteries need to be relaxed, dilated, wide enough for the blood to flow in. But because they are constricted, then the blood is forcing itself through a tight place instead of a relaxed, wide area. But when spinach is rich in nitrates, and what do nitrates do? They help to relax those blood vessels. They widen them, which is dilate them. And then because they are widened and they are not tight, the blood flows freely. And this is how blood pressure levels are reduced with spinach. You can see it is a powerful, powerful one. You must have a large amount of nitrates in your body to be able to get this job done. Now, the nitrate in spinach can then be converted to what you call nitric oxide. That is the main ingredient. And it is converted by the bacteria and enzymes in our body. So you eat it, and then these bacteria, you know, we have loads of bacteria in our body. We have the good bacteria, and those ones live in our gut and all that. We have the bad ones that we try to get rid of. And we have enzymes. And a lot of us are actually depleting our enzyme banks by not eating enough raw foods. But today it's not about enzymes. But I just want to add that you need those enzymes to actually cause the release of nitric oxide from this nitrate in your spinach. So if you're somebody who just eats cooked food all the time, no salads, no juices, no smoothies, you will not have enough enzymes to do this job. Okay, so when nitrates are consumed from foods like spinach, they are converted to the nitrites by bacteria in the mouth. So it starts from the mouth. I was reading an article about this just this morning. You know, they're trying to find how, you know, you're brushing your teeth, they're trying to say that, oh, you best take it when these foods, when those bacteria are higher in your mouth. But there has to be a balance between good oral hygiene and trying to get the nitric oxide out of your food. So they're converted now to nitrites by the bacteria in the mouth and further converted to nitric oxide in the body. Nitric oxide, what is the role of nitric oxide that you are getting from this action of bacteria and enzymes? It is a compound or something that you call, it behaves like a messenger that helps to relax your blood vessels and then improve blood flow, which then has various health benefits of lowering your blood pressure, you know, improving exercise performance. So I want to give you examples of medicines that actually, of meds that work like this. And one of them is what you call monosorbide isosorbide mononitrate. So a lot of people are on isotad. If you're on a drug like that, this spinach does exactly the same thing without the side effects. So it's also the second thing spinach does, that it's a good source of potassium. Potassium helps us regulate our fluid balance in the body. Sometimes when there's too much sodium in the body, there's too much fluid in the body, and this raises our blood pressure. But what does spinach do? It regulates the fluid and brings a balance in the body, and it lowers blood pressure. So that's the second way in which it lowers blood pressure. It helps the kidneys to get rid of extra sodium. That is why they say that if you have high blood pressure, you shouldn't take too much salt. It's because of the sodium. When there's too much sodium, there's a buildup of fluid in your body. But you know, spinach is high in potassium, so it helps to actually regulate that balance. The third thing about spinach is that it is high in what you call antioxidants. Antioxidants, okay? I don't know if you know what antioxidants are. Anti and oxidants, these are things that you find in foods that God has given us through foods They help us to fight oxidative stress in the body. They are high in vitamins. They are high in minerals that help us reduce inflammation and what you call oxidative stress. And inflammation is one of the key, chronic inflammation is one of the key reasons why we have things like high blood pressure, diabetes, and all these chronic illnesses. And these are things that contribute to high blood pressure. Another thing about spinach is that it is high in fiber. A lot of times we are eating food, processed foods and crap foods that are low in fiber. Yet God put fiber in these foods for a reason, in real foods, because we are not eating real foods. God put fiber in them to help us improve our digestion, and for overall foods that are high in fiber, they actually help with cardiovascular health. And when your heart is also healthy, it also has an indirect effect on lowering your blood pressure. How can you consume this? Okay, let's see how you can consume it. I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to repeat it again. And I want you to take notes. Juice it. Put it in salads. And all the things I do is when I'm making something like bulgur, because I take more bulgur than rice. And when I'm eating rice, I eat more brown rice, which are things like ofada. Because brown rice is the right ofada, bakali rice, are rice that God created them, that they are God-made. The fiber has not been taken, the nutrients have not been stripped away. So when I'm cooking them, just before they're ready, I would have, chopped a little bit of spinach. Just as it's getting ready to, I'm ready to take it off the cooker, I put in chopped in spinach in it. So it just stays a little time, and it maintains its nutrients. And then that means, so I'm having the bulgur or the quinoa or the brown rice or fried rice with some chopped spinach in. So I'm just taking one of the ways that I use it. So it's sort of more or less sort of very mild cooking. You can steam it. Use a steamer to steam it, and then you now have it with other meals. You can put it in smoothies. I love putting it in smoothies, and you can also make it as vegetable stew. But like I said, when you put in vegetable stew, sometimes it's overcooked. So that's where I put it last. Yeah, taking your vegetable stew, you'd have lost most of the medicinal value. So that's why you must use it in different ways, like I've shared with you. So let's see, how long before you start getting results? A lot of us want quick fixes. In life, there's no quick fix. It takes a while for a disease to take root in the body, and it's not going to disappear overnight. But if you put in the effort and the work, you will get the results that you require. So seeing results from consuming spinach and other dietary changes for high blood pressure can vary depending on individuals. How I will respond to it is different from how you will respond to it. It will also depend on the severity of the high blood pressure. Some people's blood pressure is very, very high. How you respond to it, if your blood pressure is high, is different. Your overall diet, let your food be your medicine, and your medicine that food. Some of us, we are not eating, we don't have a good diet, and that will also affect how you'll get the results from your spinach. So you need to improve your diet if you want good results from your spinach. Your lifestyle, are you exercising? Are you sleeping well and all that? So, and some people may begin to see improvements in their blood pressure within a few weeks of making the dietary adjustments and taking the food. Okay, so that is where the difference is. So now let's go to the next one. I'll talk about beetroot. Can you see the picture of beetroot that I put there? Okay, this beetroot, you can see this, the stalks and the leaves. Then first, just take a look at that picture. You can see the deep red color. That's because of what you call phytochemicals that are inside of it. And phytochemicals are the things that plants produce to protect themselves from human beings and other pests. But on the long run, when we consume those phytochemicals in them, they are a blessing to our bodies. You can see that the creator is fantastic. So let's look at beetroot. It is a root vegetable. It is deep red or purple in color. I've seen purple beetroot. I don't know how many of us have seen purple beetroot before. I will answer questions later. It's a root vegetable that is usually deep red or purple in color. However, there are some that are golden, and there are some white varieties which I've seen in UK, while the red ones are more common in Africa, especially Nigeria. So according to research, take a note of this. Beetroot is one of the most powerful foods for lowering blood pressure. I kid you not. I take it twice a day. Okay? So beetroot juice, according to research, If you drank, patients who drank 250 ml of beetroot juice a day were found to have blood pressure levels back to normal range by the end of the study that they took. So you can't go wrong with beetroot juice. But the problem a lot of us have is that we are not consistent. You must make your food your medicine. So moving on, according to research also, it lowers the systolic blood pressure, that is the top one, significantly within 90 days of taking beetroot juice consistently. This means that when you drink it consistently for at least 90 days, to lower your systolic, that is the top level, the top reading. And remember that this is the reading that can be dangerous, okay? So beetroot does that. So it's a very, very good one. So beetroot is believed to also lower high blood pressure because of its high nitrate content, which I've explained before, just like spinach. And I said they're in the same family. It does exactly the same thing like spinach. It dilates your blood vessels, it improves blood flow, and ultimately lowers your blood pressure. Thank you. I'm glad that you are getting value. So yes, so it will reduce your blood pressure. Additionally, let's look at what beetroot does. When you have, I'm not sure whether this happens in Nigeria. I'm based in the UK. The first line of action for people with high blood pressure is that they give them diuretics. That means they want them to wee more so that they can get rid of the sodium and the excess fluid that is raising the blood pressure. Do you know that beetroot is a natural diuretic? And the thing is, the diuretics that they give, like bendofluizides, spironolactone, and all those ones, they have their side effects. But beetroot is a natural diuretic. It helps to reduce excess fluid in your body and further lower blood pressure. That's another thing about it. In orthodox medicine, the first line of that, like I said, is diuretics. So it does exactly the same thing as water tablets. What they are called water tablets, things like furosemide, bendofluizide, and all that. There was another study that they did in humans that was published in the British Journal of Nutrition. It showed that beetroot juice helps significantly lower both the systolic and the diastolic blood pressure in participants in just 24 hours. That's how powerful beetroot is. Okay? So never underestimate. And beetroot is very, very available everywhere. Another human study that they did in 2017 found that beetroot juice helped lower levels of bad cholesterol. There's good cholesterol and there's bad. There's the LDL, which is the bad one. That's just using layman terms. And there's the good one, which is HDL. It lowers bad cholesterol in people with uncontrolled blood pressure. Anything that lowers blood pressure and cholesterol is good for your heart health. Okay, because cholesterol plays a role. How then do we consume beetroot to get the effects I want? Just like spinach, you can juice it, you can make smoothies, you can put it in salads, and you can ferment. Note this, please note this. Can you see the whole thing? You can see the bulb, you can see the stem, you can see the leaves. Every part of beetroot is important. Do not throw the leaves away. Do not throw the stems away, the stalks away. You can slice them into your salad or juice them. When it comes to the leaves and the stalk or stem, I juice them when I'm juicing pomegranates. Okay, or you can put it in smoothies. Never waste the stalks. They are very, very powerful. So the bulb, the stem, and the leaves are everything you need. Do not throw any away. And how do you consume? You make it in juices, make it in smoothies. I make juices, I make smoothies, and I put it in salads. I do not use the cooked one. I prefer the raw one. I grate the raw one into my salads. And then you can ferment. Okay, I ferment. Let me share how I ferment beetroot, because we all know that I don't know if you know that fermented foods are very, very good. They are good for digestive health. Anything that's good for your digestion is good for your immune system, and it make there's a strong connection between your digestive system and your brain. There's a strong connection between your digestive system and your immune system. 75% of your immune system is in your digestive system, your gut. So you must take care of your gut. That's why you must eat foods that are high in probiotics. So I ferment it. I first ferment cabbage with Himalayan salt for 3 days. Then I chop in beetroot and ferment for another 3 days. And I have, and I now filter and have the liquid, and I take a portion every day. You are feeling, when you do that fermented food, that's how I create my own homemade fermented drink that I drink every day. Okay, so you can do it that way. So, like I said, you can cook it and do all sorts of, you can cook it, some people cook it. I'm not a fan of the cooked one that much. I prefer raw because I like to keep my enzyme bank full. When your enzyme bank is low, it adds to aging, it triggers chronic illnesses and all that. You must eat a lot of more raw food. How often should we consume beetroot? It should be taken daily or a few times a week to get good results. You can't take it today and not take it tomorrow. I take beetroot juice every day, or I use the powder every day. So I use it in the morning and I use it in the evening. So it is a no-brainer. I take it every day. So how long before you start getting results? Some studies suggest that the effects of beetroot on lowering blood pressure can be seen within a few hours after consumption. I've mentioned that before. So it is a powerhouse. There is a no-brainer. However, consistent intake over several weeks may yield more sustained results. Individual responses can vary very well. So like I said, I went to visit somebody on, I think of last Friday, and the person that came to visit him spoke about how we were talking about how to heal it naturally, and I spoke about beetroot, and he said one day he took beetroot and took his blood pressure tablets at the same time, and he went into serious hypotension. That is how powerful beetroot is. It works. It is God's gift to us. So individual responses vary, like I said before. Some people can get results within hours. The last kick-out challenge that I did with people for 21 days, we had people had amazing results with beetroot. Okay, so moving on. The third one I'll talk about is pomegranate. Now, pomegranates, it might not be so common. I know that when I was in Nigeria, I used to be able to get pomegranate once in a while. I used to get it from ShopRite. It's a round red fruit with thick, tough skin. Inside it, it contains many small seeds encased in juicy sweet. Can you see those seeds? The fruit is rich in antioxidants, vitamin C and K, and various other nutrients. So now let's look at how it works. How does it lower blood pressure? Number one, it has powerful antioxidant properties. I've shared with you a little bit about antioxidant properties, okay? And such as polyphenols. And polyphenols are very powerful in actually I've seen something here. What's going on? Okay, that's just, sorry about that. Okay, so polyphenols are, okay, you can see me now. All right, sorry, you couldn't see me before. So polyphenols are actually antioxidants. They actually reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. Like I said, chronic inflammation is a major root cause in high blood pressure. So it also improves blood vessel function. When your blood vessels are functioning well, then your blood pressure will be regular. So anything that will improve our blood vessel function will improve blood pressure. The second way it works is by nitric oxide production. Again, like spinach and beetroot, it has been shown to produce nitric oxide. So can you imagine when you juice beetroot and juice spinach with it, and you also juice pomegranate, you can imagine the effect it will have on your blood pressure. Imagine the three of them working together. I've already shared how nitric oxide actually, lowers high blood pressure. Okay, so now, one of the types of medicines that we give out for blood pressure, this group are called the ACE inhibitors. Okay, and they're called, how they work, they inhibit an enzyme. They're ACE inhibitors. The ACE is a sort of enzyme, and that can raise blood pressure. And when you take ACE inhibitors, you are inhibiting their action So they do not convert some things that will lead to blood pressure, high blood pressure. So, and such examples of such medicines are things like ramipril, lisinopril, fosinopril. Any blood pressure that I mentioned that ends with pril is an ACE inhibitor. And pomegranate contains compounds that act exactly the same way. They work exactly the same way as ACE inhibitors. Can you see that this is medicine? It's similar to those medications. It helps to relax your blood vessels and it improves your blood flow. Okay? But unlike ACE inhibitor medicine, they do not cause dry. ACE inhibitors, when you take ACE inhibitors, all the pills, they cause dry cough. That's one of the side effects. When I was talking to that gentleman last Friday, he had developed dry cough. So I said, yes, that's the side effect of it. But pomegranate is not going to do that to you. It works like that medicine, the blood pressure medicine, but it doesn't bring dry coughs. Can you see how we are gifted, how food is so powerful? That's why you must make food your medicine and your medicine your food. Okay, so it also reduces cholesterol levels. That is one great thing I love about pomegranate. It reduces your LDL cholesterol. That's a bad cholesterol, which can also contribute to high blood pressure. Overall, the combination of these effects makes pomegranate a beneficial food for lowering blood pressure. I hope you can agree with me with that. How then can we use it? I've been sharing how you use it and all that. How can you use it? Juice it. How I use it is as I juice it. You can eat the seeds. You can add to salads. When you make your salad, just put some pomegranate seeds on it. Some of the salads that they sell in shops have pomegranate seeds on them. And in some people, they add it to their cook. When they've cooked a meal, they sprinkle it on the cooked food. So now I want to share something else with us that a lot of us may not be aware of. Some of us may be aware of pomegranate, but do you know that the skin is also powerful? If you buy pomegranate, never throw the skin away. Pomegranate skin, when you clean it very well, I normally soak it in vinegar water to clean it and then rinse it, and then I pour clean water in it over it and put in a pot and boil for about 10 minutes. The solution that comes from it is going to be pink. It lowers blood pressure. It acts as a mouthwash. I don't know how many of us are online that know what is called ogbuefu. Those days when we were growing up, my grandmother used to bring ogbuefu for us. I don't know how many of us, have had ogbuefu. And how it actually, cleans your mouth. When you use this particular solution, you gargle with it, not swallow, you gargle with it and spit out. It acts as a good mouthwash. It cleans your mouth out. It removes the thing. It's just cleaner. I would use this over normal shop bought mouthwashes because it's natural. There are no chemicals in it. It's just God's gift. And also, it is a good skin toner. And that's one of my skin toners. So I don't buy most of the things I use as my health and beauty products. I make them from home, from food at home. I don't buy the ones in the shop because of the chemicals. So for my skin toner, I use that same liquid, and you will see it will so tone your skin. It will be soft and smooth after. So let's see. How often should we consume it? Well, research has shown that drinking about half a cup to 1 cup of pomegranate, half a cup to 1 cup of pure pomegranate juice daily is a common suggestion based on some studies. Please, if you buy pomegranate juice, please buy pure pomegranate juice. The ones you find in the shops may just contain 10% pomegranate and the rest is nonsense. Please, please, please avoid that. I make my juice at home. It's 100%. So when I'm juicing it, I put in things like the ephedrine, I put in things like parsley, coriander, I do all those things. The stalk of beetroot leaves, beetroot itself, the root itself, some spinach. If I have celery, I put celery in it because celery is another food that lowers blood pressure and also produces nitrates. Okay, but I can't cover all of them tonight. So that's how I make it at home. My own beetroot juice, I make my beetroot juice at home. I make my pomegranate juice at home. Most juices that are sold in boxes in the shops are nonsense, are crap. So I rather make my juices at home because they don't, if they say, when you say something is pomegranate juice, it should be 100% pomegranate juice. It should not be 20% pomegranate juice and the rest is nonsense. That's what I want us to get. But when you make it at home, it's going to be 100%, apart from the things that you add that are healthy. Okay, not the chemicals that they will add. And I know that you're using 100% pomegranate. Okay. Now, some studies, how long before we start seeing results? Like I've said with the others. Now, the effects of pomegranate on blood pressure can vary with individuals, like I said. Please, Ege Israel, please do not use my webinar to promote your visa thing. It's bad manners. Please don't do that. It's very, very bad. Okay, so how long before we start seeing results? The effects of pomegranate on blood pressure can vary between individuals, as I've said before. Some studies suggest that noticeable improvements might be seen in a few weeks of regular consumption, such as drinking pomegranate juice daily. However, results can differ based on factors like your overall diet, just like the others, your lifestyle, and the severity of your blood pressure. That's why it's good to use a combination of foods together. Let's look at bananas. You know that banana that you see? Banana is very, very good. Let's see how it works. Bananas are easy to get. Yeah, okay, yeah, we are aware of food. Thank you, ma'am. So that's what the pomegranate solution will do when you take it. That's exactly what it does to your thing. So bananas are a good source of potassium, which is an essential mineral that helps manage blood vessels. I have mentioned that before. It relaxes the blood vessels because it's also going to balance the sodium in the body. So potassium works, by helping the body to balance the amount of sodium in the blood, which is crucial for maintaining healthy blood pressure, which I've mentioned before. So this potassium reduces fluid retention, which is a contributor to high blood pressure. So when you consume bananas regularly, you are increasing your potassium intake and you're helping to lower your high blood pressure. However, be careful. Bananas are high in sugar. And when if a diet that is too high in sugar leads to inflammation, and inflammation raises blood pressure. So there must be a balance. I take a banana a day, depending on the size. If it's a small one, there are small ones I can take 1 or 1.5, and I put them in my berries in my yogurt. Okay. So additionally, another advantage of bananas and how they help is that they are high in fiber. And foods that are high in fiber are good for regulating blood pressure and for your overall heart health. So you need to include it in your diet, maybe 1 a day. I take 1 a day. And it can also help lower your risk of developing high blood pressure and improving your heart health because of the fiber content. Now, let's look at the peel. A lot of you take banana, you peel it, you just take the peel, you just throw it away. You're making a mistake. Don't do that again. The peel can be boiled as a tea to lower your blood pressure. And it's also good for helping you to sleep. So what you can do is, if the banana is not organic, take the peel, soak it in vinegar water or baking soda for about 5-10 minutes, rinse it very well, then you can boil it with fresh water and drink it. If you are suffering from insomnia, try it, maybe with chamomile, and drink and see how it will help you to sleep. And banana peels lower the high blood pressure. How? Because they have just like the banana, the peels are also high in potassium. And we already know that potassium is a mineral that regulates blood pressure because it balances sodium levels. So potassium helps you counteract the effects of sodium, like I've said before, and it is sodium that can raise your blood pressure. Additionally, like I said, just like the banana itself, the peels are high in fiber. Some people blend the peel with their smoothies. I haven't tried that before, but what I just use is I just boil them into tea. I'm not sure if you have a good blender, you can blend the skin into your smoothie and you can add it to your smoothie. I have not done that before. It also improves your heart health because of its high fiber content. Anything that is high in fiber will help reduce your cholesterol levels. It will help promote your digestion. And don't forget that digestion and your guts and your heart are connected. Okay? So it's also rich in anti-inflammatory compounds that can, improve your cardiovascular health, leading to lower blood pressure. Now, so like I said, I've shared how you can use the banana peels. You can blend it in smoothies. you can boil, and you can cook. Okay. I guess one of the good things that when you know, if it's plantain, unripe plantain, you know, it's ground and made into amala. So I guess it's going to be providing you with the potassium also in that way. You can also bake or fry banana peels. I've seen it baked, I've seen it fried, but I'm not a fan of fried foods that much, because overeating fried foods is not good for our health. So you can bake it and, season it very well, put it in your oven and make a nice crispy snack. So instead of going to take that chin chin that is high in sugar, that is high in flour, that will raise your blood pressure, instead of going to take what other things we eat, all those processed foods that we eat, all those snacks that are not healthy, instead of doing that, why don't you create your own healthy snack? Just season the banana peel very well, throw it into your oven, and you get a nice crispy snack, okay, or side dish. All right. So also, let me remind people that diabetics, be careful about how much you are consuming. And another way in which you can do this is called when you pickle it. Banana peels can be pickled in vinegar or spices. However, my problem with pickled foods is that they can be high in salt, okay, which can raise your blood pressure. So pickling should be something that we should stay away from. So it's important that you wash the banana peels thoroughly before consuming them, as they can have pesticides or other chemicals on the surface. Don't just clean them very well with vinegar. And I would recommend, if you're in a place where you can get organic bananas, just do that. If you can't, clean the peels very, very well. How often should you consume? Let's go to that. According to research, there's no specific one size fits all. Okay, according to guidelines. However, including bananas in your diet a few times a week, I take it every day, can be beneficial for your heart health because of its potassium content, because of its fiber content. Like I said, I eat a banana a day. I throw the peel into water and I boil it and I make myself a nice tea with it. I can add in that water, what I do is I might be boiling zobo. So I put zobo in a pot, I put banana peel in a pot, and then I put other leaves like efirin and all that to make myself a nice tea with it, okay? So how long before you start seeing results with bananas? The effect of eating bananas on high blood pressure can vary from person to person. Some individuals may notice changes in a few weeks, while for others it might take longer. It's important to consider bananas and all these foods as part of a broader approach to your blood pressure lowering, to your heart health. And that must include your reducing your sodium intake, exercising and all that, and managing your weight. If you're overweight, you must deal with your weight. Okay, so let's look at another one, zobo, hibiscus. Now, zobo, I'm sure a lot of us know about zobo. If only you knew how powerful zobo is, you will not treat it lightly. You will appreciate it. It's another gift of God to us. Yes, you can air fry it. Okay, right. So thanks for reminder. Next slide. Don't mind me. So next slide. You've seen the banana. Now you've seen the zobo. Okay. So zobo is a flowering plant. Zobo is a popular Nigerian drink made from dried hibiscus flowers known as sorrel, roselle, or bishop. One of its amazing health benefits include lowering blood pressure. Do you know it has anti-cancer properties too? It helps with weight loss too. I remember somebody who joined my last 21-day kick-out hypertension challenge who kept saying that zobo made her lose weight. So it does its job. That's one of the things it does. So zobo is rich in antioxidants like the others I've mentioned. And instead of polyphenols, this one is rich in what you call anthocyanins, which helps to reduce inflammation like the others and to improve blood vessel function. One of the greatest ways to improve blood pressure is to improve the function, the health of your blood vessels and how they function well. And zobo does that. You see, this drink also, it not only contains the antioxidants called anthocyanins, it contains polyphenols, which I've mentioned before. in the earlier ones to have a positive impact on lowering blood pressure. It is also high in potassium, like banana. And we know what potassium does. I've already said that, so I'm not going to go into that again. You already know that any food that is high in potassium is good for your blood pressure. Some studies have suggested that zobo may also be a diuretic. It may have diuretic effects. One thing is that when I take zobo, I tend to go to the loo to wee. So it's also a diuretic. It's a diuretic that doesn't have side effects. Okay? And then, you know, one amazing thing is that's where I'm able to use my knowledge of pharmacy and, nutrition to understand and explain to you. Studies have suggested that zobo not only has diuretic effects, it also behaves like the ACE inhibitors that I mentioned before. An example being ramipril. The way ramipril will lower blood pressure is the way zobo will lower your blood pressure. Finito. But there'll be no dry cough. There'll be no such side effects. Overall, zobo's antioxidant content, its potassium levels, it has antioxidant effect, it has high potassium levels, it is a potential diuretic. All of these contribute. You're still looking at, I've changed it. I have changed it. Is it not showing on your, it's moved now. It's moved now. I've moved it to I can see banana and all that showing. Okay, so let me continue. Some studies have shown that I've almost lost my direction. However, it's important to note that zobo can be a very healthy addition to your diet, but it's not a substitute for medical treatment for high blood pressure. Always consult with the healthcare provider for proper diagnosis and treatment. If you want to see it work for you, it is something you must take. If you want to replace it with your drugs, it is something you must take consistently. It's not something that you take today and do not take tomorrow. How often should you consume? You should consume hibiscus tea once or twice a day. So that is important. If you want good results, consume it once or twice a day. How long before you start seeing the effects? I would say, how long before you start seeing the effects? I don't know why it's dark. How long before you start seeing the effects? I would say that you start seeing the effects of zobo when you drink zobo regularly. Like I said, depends on individuals. How it affects me different from. So you need to study your body. When you take it, you begin to notice how this is affecting you. Okay, it can vary with individuals and people's health conditions and their lifestyles, which you said before. So it seems to be the same things that are affecting all the foods that lower blood pressure. Some people notice changes in their blood pressure within a few weeks of consistent use, while others may take longer. Know your body. I now want to look at one more food, which is also commonly available. That is scent leaf, also known as efinrin. Efinrin. Okay, efinrin is quite common to get. I love the smell. I just love the smell. The leaves have a fragrant smell, and that's because it contains something called eugenol. The same eugenol that you find in clove. Okay, so African basil, also known as African blue basil or camphor basil, I think that's because of the eugenol in it, contains compounds like, yes, Yoruba bananas are also okay. Okay, so African basil, also known as African blue basil, contains compounds like eugenol that have been shown to help lower blood pressure. Okay, so that's one of the ways in which efinrin works, eugenol. So that is one of the way it operates. So let's look at other ways in which it works. African basil contains compounds that dilate the blood pressure, or dilate or relax the blood pressure. Okay, any food that can relax your blood vessels, will lower your blood pressure. That means they help to relax your blood vessels, they help to dilate your blood vessels, especially the arteries, and therefore, because they are dilated, they are wider, the blood can flow freely. There is no pushing, and this reduces the pressure on your blood vessels and lowers blood pressure. Next, so that is how it works as a vasodilator. It dilates your vessels. Next, it has antioxidant activity like the others. It is rich in antioxidants. And the antioxidants you can find in ephedrine, they protect your blood vessels from getting damaged because of oxidative stress. So when you reduce oxidative stress, you improve the health of your blood vessels. Anything that improves your blood vessels will lower your blood pressure. You have it in your compound. That is good. Okay. So let's look at the anti-inflammatory effects. One of the ways it works is also its anti-inflammatory effects. Like I said, chronic inflammation is a problem, is one of the root causes of chronic illnesses. So one of its functions is that it brings down, it lowers inflammation. So you are lowering your inflammation, you are reducing your blood pressure. Okay, so it has a powerful way of doing that. So that's one of the ways in which it lowers blood pressure. And like some of the others I mentioned, it has a diuretic effect. Also, that means it behaves as a water tablet. So you're going to be going to the loo and be getting rid of the excess fluid in your body. You're going to be getting rid of the excess sodium in your body. And then, which is, you're reducing your fluid retention, and that lowers your blood pressure. So it's going to reduce the volume of blood circulating in the body. It's going to reduce the volume of fluid circulating in your body. And remember that diuretics are usually the first line of treatment. So you have a good thing going when you take ephedrine. Now let's look at the eugenol, that essential oil that is in it, that gives it that fragrant scent, which you also find in clove, can actually work as what you call calcium channel blockers. Now, that is another group of blood pressure tablets. You have the ACE inhibitors, you have the calcium channel blockers, okay? And examples are drugs like nifedipine, Adalat. Any of the medicines that end with dipine are calcium channel blockers. And your ephedrine that you look at as if with so much disrespect, a lot of us, we just look at ephedrine and say, okay, let's just cook it. You don't know how the powerhouse. Go and dry it up very well and make it into tea. You know, it works exactly like nifedipine. It is a calcium channel that is blocking the calcium that's going to raise your blood pressure. So it's a calcium channel blocker, you know, and just like those tablets that lower your blood pressure. So let food be your medicine and your medicine your food. Okay. So the essential oils are actually also help to lower your high cholesterol levels, high triglyceride levels. Okay. And one additional benefit of basil is that it is high in magnesium. Anybody who has high blood pressure must be eating foods that are rich in magnesium. I'm telling you, things like avocado are rich in magnesium. Nuts are rich in magnesium. Magnesium is important for lowering blood pressure. It helps blood flow through your vessels because it's a muscle relaxant. And your arteries are made from muscles. And all this lead to heart health. So basil is just amazing. Basil has so many ways in which it's working. So you look at these things and just wonder that how nature has given us everything we need to heal. We just need to put it in our diet. And like I said, magnesium is very, very important, not only for your muscles, but it also acts like the calcium channel blocker. I wrote an article about this on my Facebook at one time. Magnesium acts as a calcium channel blocker that relaxes your blood vessels. So it's working exactly just like nifedipine will work. So your basil is rich in it. So how often should we consume to get results? I'll ask the questions later. How often should you consume to get results? One must consistently consume these foods like medicine, please. Eat your food as medicine. There was a saying that a doctor wrote on, he said, food is medicine. Pick up your prescription in the kitchen. That's how important it is, okay? Right, so there isn't a standardized dosage specifically for lowering blood pressure when it comes to ephedrine, but incorporating it as a balanced diet can be beneficial. So let's see, how long do we need to start taking if any, before we see results. Regular consumption over weeks, over months is generally needed to get the results that we desire. Okay, so I've come to the end of my presentation, and it's time for me to look at the questions here. Let me see if I can answer some of the questions here. Okay, I'm scrolling through now to look at questions. Thank you, everybody, for taking time. Yes, you see, somebody talks about kidney stones. If you're somebody who suffers from kidney stones, because of the oxalates in it, you must reduce the amount of spinach that you take. Or it's best that you also steam it instead of taking it raw. Okay, that's for people who especially suffer from kidney stones. Okay, so I've answered that question. How about me using amlodipine? I don't understand that question. I've already shared the food that acts like it. Yes, amlodipine. Thank you. Let me move on to other questions. It is not safe to suddenly cut off hypertension medication. Once your blood pressure is lowered, yes, you can taper it off and get your doctor's permission to do that. All these things I share more in the 21-day Kickout hypertension challenge, where I teach people the 4 pillars, and I take them through the 4 pillars, and we begin to lower blood pressure that way. Okay. Okay. Sometimes beetroots are not available in Nigeria, but you can also look out for the powder, or get people that are farmers, get a large stock in bulk, and then dry it and create your own powder. Let's just be creative about it. Thank you very much. Okay, beetroot is available in mile 12. Thank you, Ma, for putting that there. It's available in mile 12. Just go to mile 12 and get these things in bulk. You can dry them and make them as tea. Okay. All right. How about the powder to Jumia? You can make some yourself, or you can get it in some health shops. Well, most of these fruits are actually in mile 12 where they sell fruits. How often can one eat or drink beetroot juice? You can take beetroot juice once or twice a day. So once you know how it's affecting your body, you now decide how much you need to take in a day. The powder, you need to get to the shops, maybe get to places like GNC, GNLD, and places that sell it, or just create your own powder yourself. Get it, dry it, get a dryer, dry it, and take it to a place and they'll grind it for you. That's your own, simple and straight. I tend to use, when it comes to beetroot powder, I tend to use about a spoonful twice a day. A tablespoonful twice a day. Okay. I'm just looking through the questions. Yes, you can mix the 3 together. And when I'm making my drink, I mix all of them, including ginger. I mix them all together. How do we ferment? You don't ferment those fruits. The only one I mentioned that you ferment is beetroot. Okay, and later in the group, I will share with you how to create fermented beetroot. I'm not in Nigeria, so I think somebody has put that you can check in Jumia and all that. You're very welcome. Can you air fry it? Yes. How many minutes? 5 to 10 minutes is fine to boil the banana peel. I'll share about fermenting. Okay. Yes, you can boil zobo, banana, and scent leaves together for about 10 minutes. Okay. Native banana is fine. Healthy zobo. Me, as far as I'm concerned, once I get the zobo, dried one, I rinse it through it. I pour in a sieve and I rinse it very well. Then I pour it somewhere until it dries. And I take a quantity of it and I make my tea. I'll maybe later in the group give you a formula on how to prepare it. But zobo is very pretty forward, easy to make. I don't add anything to my zobo. I don't add honey. I don't add sugar. I don't add anything. I just take it like that. I know it can be sour, but I've trained my tongue to accept those tastes. Okay. Don't boil beetroot. When you've boiled your zobo, you can Now use the zobo as the liquid to make a smoothie with your beetroot. Or you can use your beetroot and mix the two together, but don't boil the beetroot. Beetroot can be taken once or twice a day. Like I said, twice a day, okay? Yes, it's recorded. What are the foods for high blood? I've already mentioned foods for high blood pressure and all that. If your PVC is low, one of the foods you can take is spinach and ugu. They raise your blood iron levels. They increase your packed cell volume. So those are two I can recommend, including zobo. Can all these foods and vegetables be blended together? Yes, they can. Very much blended together. I've shared already. You can listen to the play how you can use it. You can use it dried, you can use it fresh, you can blend it, you can make it into tea. You can do that. I don't know where exactly, like I said, beetroot can be gotten in the market, mile 12. Can I continue using my hypertension drug when using these food remedies? Well, you have to check if you're taking these are things I teach during the 21-day kick out hypertension challenge, where we talk about food, we talk about sleep, we talk about stress, we talk about weight loss and all that. Those are things that I teach there. Once you've gotten your blood pressure normal, it might be dangerous for you to take both at the same time. Like I said, I discussed with somebody, I was with somebody last Friday, and he went into hypertension because he took his blood pressure tablets at the same time as beetroot and zobo. So you have to be very careful. How can one prepare a good zobo to bring down hypertension? What you've done is good. Cinnamon is very good for lowering blood pressure, just as garlic is. So you've got a good combination. That is good. What I try to frown off is people adding sugar or things that are too sweet into it. What's the best way to What's the best way to add sugar? What's the best way to and should be added when boiling zobo? I boil my zobo with just other leaves too. I don't put things like pineapple. I just take it just straight off. I've trained my thing. So you can boil with basils and scent leaves and all that. Okay, basil and scent leaves are the same. Basil, African basil and ephedrine, there are different types of basil. The basil we have in the UK are different from the ones you have in Nigeria. Okay, how to prepare ephedrine, I've already mentioned that. What is the name of your Facebook? It's this Opeoluwa on Facebook. And then there's Health is Wealth with Opeoluwa on Facebook. All of you, please subscribe to my channel as you've listened, you've joined. Please, all of you, before you leave, subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Do eating raw garlic. Let me talk about garlic. Garlic is very good for blood pressure. But to get the best out of garlic, you need to grate it or chop it or crush it and leave it for at least 10 minutes. That is when the allicin that lowers blood pressure will be released. And then it's best not cooked. The one you cook with is just to give it taste. Once you put heated garlic, it loses its power. So what I did is I crush it, I grate it, leave it for 10 minutes, and I put it into a tea that I'm going to drink or in my smoothie or juice, okay? And even the peel of garlic, don't throw it away. Boil it as a tea. The peel of your onions, if it's healthy, clean it very well and boil it as part of your tea. What are the things that can help in cleansing the blood vessels for free blood? I've mentioned all these things already. I've mentioned how to prepare ephedrine. You can have it dried, you can juice it, you can put it in smoothies, you can put it in your salads, and you can make it into, I don't know, maybe vegetables stew or something. When we blend the food, should we serve it before drinking it? What do you mean by, I don't understand that question. Should we serve it before drinking it? I don't understand that question. Please clarify. Should I take the juice on an empty stomach? You need to study. I don't know what your body makeup is like, but if your body can take it, it's better on an empty stomach. It's usually good. I'm glad you got good revelation, Madam Grace Lasaki. Scent leaves, juice, salad, cook, tea. Those are the ways to do it. Well, somebody said, can you be on drug and still take? Once your blood pressure is stabilized, if you are not going to take these things consistently, then you don't go off your drugs. That's the thing. Sometimes when you combine the drugs and these things together, your blood pressure goes too low and you don't want a disaster. So you have to watch your body. And these are things, again, that I handle during the kick out challenge. Okay. So I want to share this now. How to if you want to join the upcoming challenge, how to kick out hypertension. It's a 21-day challenge. We've done one pillar today, and that is even not the full picture of food, because I break food down very, 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 very well. There's much more than what I've shared here. There is a lot more to share, but I want to go and start on these ones, and you see results. So if you want to join the upcoming challenge, which will be happening, which will be starting on the 15th of September, this is the link to register. That's the link to register and join. It will be for 21 days. The price is 30,000 for 21 days. It's a group coaching where every single day I will be coming up. I'll be using the 4 pillars. I'll use food. I'll teach on food. I'll teach on sleep. I'll give the assignments. I'll put videos, audios, and everything that would help you, and you will get results. Okay, so that is what that is the link there, and I'll post it in the group also. We'll be starting the 15th of September. Testimonies abound, and I'll be sharing more about that later. Can I take my beetroot powder as a tea? Yes, you can. What is the quantity of beetroot, scent leaves, and all that? One can take all at once. I'll just say beetroot, like I said, scent leaves, there's no real quantity given, you know. Oh, I can check that out for diastolic. Yes, they are. I can check that out. You can ask that in the group later, which I can look at for you. How to ferment, I will share that. It will be shared in the group with you later. Okay? I think I've covered most of them. GNC, I don't know anything. I'm just saying GNC. I know that when I was in Nigeria, I used to go to GNC for a lot of my supplements and Havila Health. I used to go there. I'll drop those addresses in the chat. Please ask me again in the group chat, and I'll drop those things in there for you. Okay, spinach is the same as amonotutu. Ugu is not. I've forgotten the name for ugu. But ugu is not amonotutu. Let me remember the name of. I don't remember the name. So please, the phone number, my WhatsApp phone number is wrong. My WhatsApp phone number is actually 0909-826-0067. For people who want to pay directly, you can do that with the account details I've put there. We'll be starting on the 15th of September. I think I've covered all the things in that challenge. Everything that will bring your blood pressure down completely will be shared. Okay, so I think I've covered all the questions, and I'm going to bring this to a close. Please take note. You can take a screenshot of the last slide, so you can take the needful action if you really, 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 really want to take this to the next level. I've only covered a bit of this pillar called diet. The other pillars include exercise, and I'm telling you exercises, what to do, what to do with stress, how to deal with your sleep and all that. Everything that it's a big thing. Videos every day, assignments to do in your own time that's going to help you. So it's a group coaching where I give you my all and my attention, and even much more than what you're supposed to get, because I put my all in everything that I do. And results abound. Good results abound if you do everything as you've been told to do. So I am going to end the webinar now. So can I take the 2 hours after my drugs? It's too, if you're going to, I think I'll talk about this more in the chat. Okay, can you please mention the 4 pillars? The 4 pillars are diet, exercise, stress, and sleep. So those are 4 pillars that I will be teaching on that actually bring a reversal of high blood pressure. Food alone is not enough. You need 4 things to get it done. But food, a few of these I've mentioned so far, is a starting point. Okay? So are there any more questions? I'm going to, okay, due to oxalate content, is there an amount of these foods or drinks that not all of them are high in oxalate? It is spinach that is high in oxalate. So if you have an issue with oxalate, then you have to, like I said, you're better off steaming the spinach instead of taking it raw. Or you can decide not to use spinach. You have other foods that lower blood pressure apart from spinach. So if affected by it, then just don't take it. Okay? So that with that, I've come to the end. I'm trying to look for my last message. Okay. Any other questions you can ask in the group, and I'll do my best to respond as I bring this to a close. Please, can I eat apples? Oh, yes. Apples are high in fiber, and fiber is good at lowering blood pressure. I eat at least 1 apple a day. Okay, you've written it, asked this 3 times, so let's just, I hope you've all subscribed to my channel. My channel is loaded with lots of information on health. You'll be amazed at how much content I've put out there that would help you. So please subscribe and share my link with others so that you can come and take advantage of the information that I have on there. So thank you very much and good night. And I'll catch you in the group. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Can people with high blood pressure take all these foods as you mentioned regularly? Like I said, taking them together might be a problem. Okay, and those are things that are actually, yes, ugu is pumpkin. Those are things that I actually teach in the 21-day challenge. Okay, good night, everybody. And this has come to an end. I've answered all our questions, and it's time for us to, if you have any further questions, put them in the group and I'll respond to you tomorrow. Okay, please, if your ECG result is frontal and left ventricle, that is one for, that's more of a surgical thing if you have heart issues like that. So please continue to see that you change your diet anyway. That's important. Oily foods, sugar and all that. If you have that kind of heart issue, you should cut them out of your diet. Okay, then good night, everybody. God bless you. Bye.